Hi there, and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to be going over the third type of hair typing that you need to be familiar with, and that is hair density. Now, what do I mean by hair density? Let's get right into it. So, your hair density, it is the amount of hair that you have on your head. So, we have three main types of hair density. We have low density, medium density, and high density. So sometimes you might see some ladies with like huge, gigantic hair, some with not so much hair, right? And that is based on their hair density, so how much hair they have going on. So what determines your hair density, and why do I have, the amount of hair that I have on my head? So a quick story. For me, I have this part, right, high density, even though it might not look like it. And the thing is, most times when I go get my hair done, and usually when I ask the hairstylist, so how much are you going to charge, usually most of them are always like, oh my gosh, you have so much hair. Or when they start braiding my hair, they go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm still not done yet, you have so much hair. So just in case you cannot figure out your hair density, whenever you have your hairstylist complain about how much hair you have, or they get excited about how little hair you have on your head, then that's going to help you to determine, if you have low density or high density. So if they complain too much and they charge you so much because you have a lot of hair, that means you have high density. But if they charge you, like a reasonable amount, and they finish your hair so quickly and they are so happy to work with you and everything, then that means you probably don't have as much hair on your head as, like someone like me. So your hair density, it is determined based on the number of follicles you have on your head. So remember, follicles are, those tiny holes on your scalp. So meaning that the more hair follicles you have, the more, the higher your hair density, the more hair you're gonna have growing out of your scalp. But the less follicles you have right here, the fewer hair you're gonna have growing out of your scalp. So how can you check for your hair density? So there are many two main methods, and I just shared one funny method with you, which is pretty much, how your hairstylist reacts to your hair. So the two popular methods are the coin method and the hair tie method. So the coin method, so here we have, the Canadian coin. So just in case you guys are Americans or from different countries, this is what our $2 look like, our $1, and our 25 cents. This is what it looks like. So you're gonna gather your hair into a pony puff. Yeah, so we have pony puffs, not ponytails. So you're gonna gather your hair into a pony puff, and you're gonna grab that section of the pony puff where you are gonna, tie your hair. So if that pony puff, if it is bigger than the $2 coin here, right? So meaning, so let's say this is the pony puff, right? Like the diameter, right? The diameter of the pony pop. So if it's like the size of this $2 coin, then it means that you probably have a lot of hair. You probably have high density hair. And if it's the size of this $1 coin, it means you probably have medium density hair. If it's the size of this 25-cent coin, it means that you probably have low density hair. So that is a very quick method of figuring out, if you have low density or high density hair. Now the third method will be the hair tie method. So the hair tie method, again, you're going to gather your hair into a pony puff, and you're going to grab a brand new hair tie, not an old one, a brand new hair tie. And so you're going to wrap this hair tie around your hair. So if this hair tie, if you can wrap it around your hair twice, it means that you probably have high density hair. If you can wrap it around your hair more than twice, like maybe 3 times or 4 times, it means that you probably have, medium density or low density hair. And again, the third method, it's the funny method that I share with you, which is, how your hairstylist reacts to, styling your hair. If they complain about, oh, you have so much hair, oh, I'm gonna charge you this much, oh my gosh, it's taking me so much to braid your hair, da 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 da, it means you probably have high density hair. So when measuring out your hair density, and you're probably wondering, okay, so what is the difference really between hair density and your hair diameter, which is the second hair type that I shared with you earlier on. So your hair density and your hair diameter completely different, and they are independent of each other. So your hair diameter, it is the size, so it is affected, it is determined by the size of your follicles, right? So if you have big follicles, you probably have coarse hair. If you have tiny follicles, you probably have fine hair, right? And your density, it is determined by the number. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to bold this, right? It is determined by the number and arrangement of your follicles, right? So your diameter, right, it is based on the size of your follicles, whereas density, meaning how much hair are you going to have in your head, is determined by the number of your hair follicles. So just keep that in mind. Hope I haven't confused you so much. So this is density, this is diameter, right? So the size of your individual hair shaft, whereas for hair it is, the number of hair that you have, right? So to wrap it up, so you can have thick hair with low density hair, or you can have fine hair with high density hair. So just because somebody has a lot of hair on their head doesn't mean they have thick, coarse hair. Or just because somebody, like somebody have like scanty hair or not so much hair doesn't mean they have, fine hair, right? So it all depends, right? So again, in terms of hair density, so if you have low density hair, so sometimes people confuse low density hair with fine hair, because sometimes with low density hair, when you do cornrows or whatever, you probably see a lot of scalp. You can probably see a lot of scalp, because as you can see here, the follicles are spaced, they are so far from each other. So when somebody with thin or low density or medium density hair, when they get cornrows done, you can see their scalp, right? But whereas for somebody like me, for example, when I get cornrows or braids, you can barely see my scalp, right? Unless obviously, the hairstyle, it is, it's a fresh hairstyle, like brand new, and then you can see the parting, the lining, and everything. But for somebody with low density hair, you can probably see their scalp, and sometimes they can get that confused with fine hair, like, oh, I don't have a lot of my hair on my head, so I have fine hair. So there is a big difference between, having fine hair or having, low density hair. So now, why should I care really, and what does it have to do with me having dry hair all the time? So there really isn't a correlation between your moisture retention and hair density, meaning how much hair you have, right? Because you can have low density hair that feels very dry, and then you can also have high density hair that also feels very dry. So the two main hair types that affect your hair moisture retention level are your curl type and also your hair's thickness level, right? So if you have fine hair or if you have coarse hair, right? But having high density hair or low density hair, that doesn't really have, a huge effect on your hair's moisture retention level. Although it's something to keep in mind, when using products, because if you don't have a lot of hair on your head, you probably need, to use fewer products and not as much products as somebody with, high density hair with a lot of hair on their head. So to wrap it up, again, if you guys have any questions, don't be shy to leave it in the comment section or to send me an email. So the action point for this lesson and also for this module is, I want you to go back to this lesson, go back to your notes, and go through each action point. And because I want to know what your hair types are, right? Meaning, what is your curl type? Is it type 4A, 4B, 4C, or is it a mixture? What is your hair diameter? So do you have fine hair or coarse hair? And finally, what is your hair density, right? So you're going to use those two methods, the coin method, the hair tie method, or you can try to remember, your hairstylist reaction, whenever they need to, um, braid your hair, right? And let me know in the comment section, guys. All right, guys, so in the next module number 3, we are gonna be going over porosity. So again, come with an open mind, because guys, I'm gonna be sharing some insights that you're probably not familiar with and that nobody else is talking about, hence why you are taking this awesome course. All right, guys, so I will see you in the next module, where we will be going over hair porosity and what it means for dry hair and for moisture retention. All right, take care.